Hi, welcome to Wicked Politics. Adam Bierman, Bob Carson. It's been a while. We're doing this catch as catch can. I just came back from a meeting. I had to take my dad to the doctor. He got a tooth pulled. Everything's fine. Bob Carson, how are you? What are we talking about? You have a bald head.
Yeah, I've been told I've looked 10 years younger with this haircut because I was losing my hair for a while, and I cut it about a month ago, and I'm a different person, new me, new beginning. Yeah, it has been a while. Life is just going by. It's just kind of flowing down this stream that we call life, and all is well, man. I can't really complain at this point.
Oh, really? Before we get into wicked politics, you've had testicular cancer. You had an eating problem. You've been fighting MMA. So why is it so good?
Yeah, man, that's since the last time we spoke, I
Oh,
actually won a belt at the Root Dog Boxing Championship in Connecticut for Fight of the Night. Very excited about that. I had two boxing matches, and it's a good way to keep me motivated and inspire people. I got a lot of people responding to me, how they're inspired, and they look to me to continue their chosen path. But it's the same things. No real significant updates. I was diagnosed with testicular cancer in June of this year. I had an orchiectomy. My left testicle was removed. All blood work has been really, really good. My tumor markers are very, very good, very normal, indicating no cancer. So I put that in the past. That's in my rear view mirror now. Although cancer will always be a part of my life. I'll always have that thought in my mind of a reoccurrence or whatnot. But for the most part, Joel Osteen said it best. The rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield because of don't look back in the past. So I'm not really looking back in the past. I still go to my oncologist. Still working, still boxing, still fighting my fight of self-development and perseverance. And occasionally I'll observe the politics, the political world. And whatnot, stuff going on here in New Jersey, New York, a lot of stuff going on with the primary, with the debates and all that stuff. And I've been following you, of course, on Instagram and Facebook, and you look like you've had a busy couple months or so. So,
yeah, I wasn't communicating with you. Yeah, one, don't give Joel Osteen money. I remember what he did in Houston when they had the floods. He didn't want to open up his mega church to flood victims. Anyway, whatever. If Joel works for you with those comments, whatever gets you through the night. Yeah, on very local politics, I was kind of like an insurgency candidate who ran for the school board in Princeton against a more entrenched clique, and I ended up winning. It didn't happen alone. I finally got some good help from people who were, I guess, what happened was there was a superintendent who wasn't really basically embracing every brick wall and causing a lot of distrust and consternation, I guess would be a good word. She wanted to change math curriculum, I think dumb it down, get rid of tracking math, where you put people on their own grade level. She also would do redacted math reports, she covered up math reports, paying an anti-tracking expert $7,000, getting rid of a very um, popular principal. And then she ended up resigning or got pushed out 2 weeks before the election. So it got even more nonsense. So it was just chaos. One of the
yeah,
incumbents still won. I guess that's a testament to having friends, an email list. People don't really care, low information, people still voting for you. But that whole board has to be held accountable for hiring this woman who just caused chaos from day one. The way she treated people, her policies, the process, cover ups, and everything. So I ended up winning. I mean, it still was hard work, but I got two or three people helping me and coffee
wow.
clutches, homes, meetings, spreading the word. And three people won out of five, and two were non-incumbents.
Wow, that's amazing. So what happens now? So how does this work going forward?
I have to take some class, rules and regulations of a board member, which are kind of vague. Some of the things you're supposed to not say and do say. January 1st, I sit on the board. And one reason I ran, I wanted really accountability. I was against. I think again, detracking math is one of my kind of simplistic view of dumbing down. Everyone takes the same math class at the same time, especially in middle school. I don't think it works that well. I think people should be more on an accelerated level. Some people say it's racist. Now it could be done in a racist fashion, but doesn't always. That's a different asset. That's a different comment or argument to make. make sure that doesn't happen. We've had all the referendums because our buildings have been left in somewhat disrepair state. That's not all the current board's fault, but I want to keep an eye on the cash register and try to learn more about the budget, the referendum, how things are really going, and just be straightforward and honest and talk to people about these things. I mean, this is a lot of money. It's $105 million budget this board has, and it's half the town's taxes, basically. So
Yeah.
I guess, I ran on being open, a different voice, which I definitely am, watching the cash register, which I plan to do, getting rid of some of these silly math, detracking of math, and getting rid of accelerated classes, and also we're gonna have to pick a new superintendent. I don't know if I'm going to be there for that. That's really important. The last two superintendents, in my opinion, have been the last one a big disaster, and that can that sets the tone for what's happening in the
That's
school.
amazing. That's real amazing that you'll have a vote on all these important issues.
Yeah, I got to learn. Again, it's I always say it's the policy, the process, and the politics, and also learn and either internally or externally. This delve into the, I call it harvest the intelligentsia, the expertise in this town. Like just learn about construction and all the granular complexities of construction. I have friends from high school or people in town who do this for a living. So again, I learn. But again, you have to also learn about the culture that I'm going to get involved with. Am I going to be
Yeah.
welcome? Are they going to put roadblocks in front of me? I don't know. I mean, we'll have to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm proud. I know you worked very hard, and you really took it head on, and hopefully you'll be able to make a positive difference there in what seems to be a real chaotic
Right now,
environment.
yeah. I guess in the small world of Princeton politics, it could be it's an upset. It definitely is an upset. So I guess you can give me the grit or the quiet tenacity award. But I don't always believe in grit. Sometimes I think you have to know when to quit. And the only reason I ended up running is because some other people were going to run and didn't end up running. So they said, Adam, you said you might run if you don't. And I said, well, you better help me. And
Yeah.
here we are. But yeah, it was hectic, 3 months because a lot of minutia, and at the same time you have a job and family. So that yeah. So oh, the children's fate is in my hands. Scary thought, but anyway, I'm just a
Well,
townie.
that's good.
I'm just a
Yeah.
townie from Princeton. What do I know? Anyway.
Now you've been there your whole life, man, and
Well,
I'm
off
good.
and on. Yeah, I didn't plan on coming back. Yeah, but I guess yeah.
And I know that you have family that were on the board as well,
Right.
and so it's kind of a family, and then you're very entrenched in local politics. So I think it's a good fit, and I'm anxious to see how you do and
We
how it affects the community. When are you up for? When is it? What is it? Every 4 years the
three
election? Every two
years. Yeah,
years?
3 years.
Okay.
But I'm up for world domination. It's Senate next. No,
Yeah, that's the beginning. This
yeah,
this could be the beginning. You don't know that. You
yeah, yeah.
absolutely could be. So.
Well, New Jersey's a
Just
weird
listen.
state.
If you ever get to be senator or you ever get to be governor, just keep me in mind for something. I'm sure you
I'll
could
buy
fit.
you a new back seat for your car. That's
Yeah,
possible.
I could be I could be useful. I know I can in some areas. So,
So, what do you want to talk about, Bob?
well, there's a lot going on. I mean, we could talk about the Republican primary election. We could. I think we should probably talk about the presidential election, which is only going to be a year away. It's hard to believe that we're 3 years into the Biden administration. Obviously, I think we should talk about Trump. Those are like my big areas. I don't know if you had anything in
No,
mind
you
as well.
start. I mean, again, for those who don't know, the outside audience, when you see this, I called Bob up about 25 minutes ago because we're both busy
Yeah.
people. And I said, "Do you want to do a show?" And so here we are. But I think we're really loquacious, well versed, and we can do a general conversation and maybe make things up as we go. So you start.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to start about I talk about the primary and the general election, which again is coming up very fast. The Republican field is obviously narrowing. You had Ron Johnson that stopped his campaign. Mike Pence like a week before. DeSantis is nobody's going to catch Trump, and this is well known. This is common knowledge for several months now, despite Trump and the indictments and all the court appearance and all the bombast with all that. Trump is going to be the nomination. There's no question
Unless
about that.
unless he does go to jail or something happens.
But even if he does go to jail, from my understanding, even if he is president, he could still serve, and it's not gonna stop him. It's not. I don't
Mhm.
think it's gonna stop what's going to happen. So then the question becomes, okay, with Trump, the nomination, and a lot of these candidates like Vivek Ramaswamy and some other people, they're trying to curry favor with Trump to get some sort of an administration job, maybe a VP job. However, according to Andrew Giuliani, who's very close with Trump, he's the son of Rudy Giuliani. Trump doesn't care about any type of VP pick. He doesn't care. He just wants it all about himself and his job and the job that he's going to do for the country. So all of this stuff, it's theater, and very, very few people watched the last Republican debate. I saw reports anywhere from 5 to 7 million viewers, which is very, very low. For a presidential debate, a primary presidential debate. So Trump has got the nomination, basically, and the question is what's going to happen in 2024 with Biden. There's a lot of talk that Biden's not going to run, that they're grooming Gavin Newsom, blah blah blah. But even if you look at the polls now of Trump head to head with Biden, right now it looks favorable for Trump. He's ahead in several key states. A majority of people, only 14% of people polled, think that the economy is better, that their life is better under Biden. And politics is very seasonal. It's very at the moment, and I don't think Trump is going to be in any trouble going forward, despite all these legal cases against him and the efforts to try to make sure that he's tied up in court. When election comes, I think
Is
it's
it
going to
true
be.
though that I forget, and I hear different things. If he gets convicted of something, it would stop. I mean, he's not president yet. It would stop him from running. I don't know if he's
Yeah,
a
that's what I
felon.
was saying. I heard a few different things. I mean, partisan viewers will say that it's not going to stop him, that they
Yeah,
can
you don't
have
know if
somebody
it's
call him.
partisan, is it fact, is it spin, or the people know what they're talking about. I just don't
I
know.
don't think so, unless
I
he
would think
was
a
going.
felon could stop you from a lot of things, though. I don't know if running for president is one, being a candidate for a federal election. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, from what I don't think so. I think there's a loophole around that, and I think that Trump will do anything he can to make sure that's gonna. But at the end of the day, I mean, especially if he wins again, the will of the people,
He'll be
you know,
vindictive. Ooh.
they're not gonna they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna stop him. But what I'm saying is, right now, it looks bad for the Democrats. It looks bad for Biden. Right now, the poll numbers and different poll numbers in different states, the economy, everything is even though now gas prices are going. That's probably the only thing that's good right now in the economy. It looks more of an uphill battle for Biden than when we last spoke about 3 or 4 months ago.
Mhm.
Things could change. Anything could change. Anything could happen. But right now, it looks stronger for Trump than it did before.
Well, I have to make a bold prediction. Biden will win. Of course, it's cost nothing to me. He will win. He is going to run. Um, and at the same time, Trump, I think there's going to be still enough voters in key electoral states who don't speak up, who will vote against Trump if he does get the nomination, if he doesn't go to jail or whatever is supposed to happen. I do think Biden, though, I think he's an elder statesman. I mean, you don't have to be completely with it, which he's not, to be president. I think he's a wise man who can let other people do his stuff, and he's still somewhat doing. I mean, as a statesman, I think he was great with Israel and everything. So that's
Yeah.
what I see what's happening. But God, could he die? I mean, I wonder. I wonder. Trump's even show, but Trump doesn't come up, even though Trump, I think, is crazy and a maniac. He comes off as more youthful. Even though I think he's a little out of it too, but nothing. Biden, though, I think Biden has muscle memory. He has that experience. He can seize the moment. But yeah, I don't see him as definitely. He's not a robust, healthy man, and that could hurt him in terms of perception. But I really believe when the American people, when it comes to in the next year, when they really solidify on their choice, a lot can happen with the economy, war, and everything, or Trump. Biden's going to get reelected. I just can't see them. I can't see the majority of people in key electoral states going back to Trump. But yeah, again, we'll see. And that would be very scary. I think Trump would be even more vindictive and more divisive and irrational. But yeah, again, we'll see. But that's my prediction. I'll bet you $10 if you want to bet.
That's interesting. I couldn't even take a bet because I don't know. You could be right. I don't know. What I am pretty sure of is that Trump is going to be running again at this point, barring some unforeseen thing happen. And we could debate all day long as to why Biden will get elected, why Trump would or would not get elected. I will
Oh,
say this, that there's 35 to 40% of the people that don't like Donald Trump based on his personality, so they're not going to vote for him. In the past, again, this is a while ago, there was polls that suggested that independent voters are not going to break for Trump, but that was then. This is now. You mentioned Israel, and that's something we probably should discuss too,
oh
because
yeah.
I completely forgot
I
about that.
Yeah, I think one thing I about the Israel thing, and just a thought, how did Hamas get all those rockets that they're fired undetected? Unless they made them in those bunkers. I don't know. That was very interesting. The second thing is I really do believe, and maybe other people said this too, Hamas, I don't know if Iran gave them the go ahead or they acted more on their own volition, but it does take the heat off Iran. I think Iran gets what it wants when other people have to fight Israel, their proxies and everything. It could also take away from U.S. focus in the Ukraine. I don't know if Putin has anything to do with this. And yeah, it's perfect. And that also now the condemnation of the Israeli state, which can happen when you have people against them anyway, and also with all the casualties that's going to occur. It's just it's awful. Could you imagine your having a child and their legs are blown off, and your wife, her head's off? And I think Israel's just going to keep going, though. I think they're going to out crazy the crazies and show steadfastness. I think not that all I talked to Bernard Lewis, who since died, he was a famous historian of Middle East. I call it Occidental history at Princeton. And he once said, and you probably heard this too, that the Arab mind, of course, not all Arabs, but some of it's very tribal, and if they're going to get you, they go all the way. I mean, it's not you. You have not only have to you be killed, you have to be put in your place, and you have to remember what happened to you. And I think that's what Israel is going to try to out crazy, and they're just going to keep going. It's going to be pretty bad. It's going to be, and people are just going to be dying there because it's so concentrated. And then the aftermath could be, hopefully more terrorists, but not in the short run. No, it's to Israel, it's probably like the weeds grow and we just knock them down. And we have to see what turns out, who takes control of Gaza. They're not going to stop. They're not going to. I don't think they can really now.
Yeah, you lay out some good points here. First about Iran. Iran doesn't have the military capacity to really do anything to us, but what they can do is support, Hamas, which was elected by the Palestinian people back in 2004, 2005, I believe, with these rockets. And, this is an example where I think that a wild man, a crazy man, like you say, like Donald Trump, could bode well, because I used to think this was simplistic, but as I got older, I think there's truth to it. The right wing, and I'm an independent. I'm not conservative at all, but I will say that the right wing always talks about machismo and macho-ness, and Reagan was a macho. Reagan was an actor, and the enemy was afraid of him. The day that Reagan got elected, the Iranians released the hostages, and that was over. Trump, being such a wild man, he
Yeah,
killed
I agree with you.
Soleimani, in Iran, and Iran said they were going to do something. Iran did nothing to us because they couldn't do anything to us. Trump is a narcissistic, kind of crazy personality that I by virtue of his personality, I don't think this stuff happens if Trump is in office. So you can't prove it one way or the other. Although some would say that the greatest proof is that Putin didn't invade Ukraine when Trump was in office. I think this is one area where we could probably say that Trump's derangement could work in our favor. I don't think this happens under Trump.
Yeah,
The Israelis, I think that what the Israelis are doing is they're ignoring, but I don't think the Biden administration has been too supportive of Israel. They gave them $14 billion at their request, but they're giving a lot more money to Ukraine, which I don't have a problem with. But they've been a lot more friendlier to Iran, giving them that $6 billion now, where Trump put sanctions on Iran,
mhm.
and the Iranian people were on edge in that country and about to start a new revolution and overthrow the.
Well, I don't know if they could have. Yeah, they wanted to. I don't know if they could have completed it. but again, you might be. I mean, all I know is that I think that Israel did military a failure. Maybe they heard this was going to happen, just like in the Yom Kippur War in '73, but they didn't think they were capable. I think the Biden administration, I think, is steadfast, whether you agree or not, with Israel. Now they're having a shadow, not even a shadow war with Iran and Syria. They're bombing. They're bombing. When they came out very and said, "Don't widen this war," I think that it was very clear through channel. I think that's what Biden's good at, through proxy channels, letting them know, don't want, widen this war. Hezbollah basically talked a big game, but they're not doing much right now. They didn't open up. Now, would this happen? Not at all with Trump. It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, the wild man theory is interesting. It could be true. I wouldn't put a lot of stock, but it could be true. I know during Vietnam, Kissinger wrote that when they dealt with the North Vietnamese negotiators, who Kissinger said were the most devious, difficult negotiations he ever dealt with, he played the wild man card. He said, "I'm the sane one. I can't control Nixon." And Nixon did bomb. They said in the last 2 years of the Vietnam War to bomb the North Vietnamese to the peace table and make them sign an agreement that was basically going to crumble anyway, but at least give the U.S. cover, I guess, legally to get out. Peace with honor. Nixon dropped more bombs, I think, in the last 6 months of the Vietnam War than all the bombs dropped in World War II combined. I might have conflated the numbers. So yeah, the wild man and the big stick can go far, because Iran doesn't want to. No one wants to deal in a straight mono conflict with the U.S. We just have too much. It has to be asymmetrical and through proxies, I think.
Yeah, I wonder what the hell was going through Hamas's head. I think maybe I don't think the Israelis knew about this. I think that
I think they just can't. I really think that maybe they did and they didn't believe it. I could be. Yeah,
it's possible. It just seems to me that they're so
it was that organized and that well done.
Yeah, it's like they had. I don't think I didn't see anything that would indicate that they knew. They were caught by surprise, and then with the hostage and all that stuff, and it took them a while to finally go into Gaza. And whatnot. But the problem, like, I don't know what Hamas and the Palestinians were thinking, because 75% of the Palestinians support Hamas. So it's not a question of, is there going to be peace in this region? I don't think there is ever going to be peace in this region. They support Hamas. And what's Hamas's objective by doing this? Because militarily, they can't fight Israel. Our R&D, research and development, a lot of it comes from Israel. We give Israel billions of dollars each year to develop weapons, and they give us a lot of the technology that our intelligence. When this first happened over a month ago, we sent our special forces there to help aid and assist the Israelis, and the Israelis military hostage negotiation. Even Netanyahu himself was a special commander and the hostage guy, and his brother was killed in Uganda trying to rescue.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I forget his name, but you know what? They didn't want our soldiers there. They didn't want help from our soldiers, because the Israelis know what the fuck they're doing. They really do. I think Hamas wanted it to spur some sort of a larger conflict now, and now it looks like is the Israelis are going in and eliminating these tunnels and taking control and whatnot,
killing their key leaders. I mean, that does a lot when you kill leadership in the short long term. Yeah, I think also Hamas too wanted to tell Palestinians, look, there's a cost for what Israel's doing and stuff. But I really do believe, I know it's cliche, but they really don't care about the body count. To them, it's whatever. The ends justify the means, the martyrdom. It's sad. That's the difference between the West and the East in a lot of ways, I think, because it's very sad. I mean,
I don't know what I don't know what the end game is for Hamas, because they're not going to be able to Israel can take control of that land anytime they want to. They did have it, and then they released it back in 2000.
But they don't want to. Who wants to hold that stuff? Who wants to hold that and have another occupation?
Well, that area of the world is the most densely populated area of the world, and you've got 2 or 3 million Palestinians. Again, they don't acknowledge the existence of Israel. They want to wipe them off the map. They even talk about death to America. These are not, I don't understand people that are marching for Palestine. I understand there's a lot of hate towards Israel and whatnot, but I never looked at it as an equivalency between what Israel's doing and what
No,
Hamas
no.
is doing. There's no equivalency. Hamas war crimes. Israel's overstepped its bounds, and Israel's been very heavy-handed over the past 2 decades and some stuff. But I don't see Israeli IDF soldiers beheading people, cutting off this, that. I don't see that. That
Yeah, and a
doesn't
lot of
happen.
times they do get tried. I mean, even the U.S.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I hear that same thing. Well, the U.S. did war crimes in World War II, and there were some. But come on, just a general litmus test. Who would you want to win? Japan
yeah,
and the Germans and live under
yeah,
them, or the U.S.?
yeah,
What we beat Japan? Do we start concentration camps and
yeah.
start killing them all and everything? No. I mean,
And and and,
no
and did we
litmus.
worry?
They don't
And
have
did
our
we?
values. Hamas doesn't have our values at all.
No.
I can't understand
And,
why
and,
you
and
some of these younger kids who I talk to are so ignorant. They have no inkling of the past. They treat Hamas like, it's kind of like that woke thing I was talking about. Since if you're dark skin and then you must be oppressed and everyone else is a colonizer, and then you can make self-righteous rants and everything. Like some of these young kids I talk to, you think Hamas was about to solve global climate change or something.
yeah.
They're not great people. No.
No, they're not, and there's an anti-Semitism. I see it on the Jersey Shore, that the Biden administration is always. It seems like, and it's frustrating to me, that the onus is always on the Israelis. The onus is always, oh, you have to provide humanitarian aid. You have to stop the bombing for 4 hours. You have to do this. You have to do that. Well, what you mentioned World War II. What would happen if we had people in the United States say, you know what, you can't drop the bomb in Japan. You can't do this. You can't do. Well, we were fucking attacked. I'm sorry. We can. We have to. Or after 9/11, when we were attacked by Al Qaeda, did we have people say, well, we can't go into Afghanistan. We can't do this. We can't. No, we were attacked, and our response is paramount. And that's what I think is. The onus is always on the Israelis. I think the UN hates Israel. I think that's for sure. That they're the head of the UN in his response a couple of weeks ago. Really got a lot of backfire from that, and the press. And look, I just think I don't know where the Palestinians go. I don't know if there's no moderate Palestinian. Even the Palestinian Authority, they're non-existent, and it's a joke, and they're not moderate at all. There's no moderates in that area.
Yeah,
So I don't know where they go. I don't know what happens to this, but I do know military Israel is going into Gaza and eliminating all this stuff, and I don't think anybody knows what the end game is here.
sadly, I think for the
They want to try to
Palestinians,
get the hostages back. They're talking about deals to get the hostages back, and that I don't like the way that sounds for Netanyahu. I think politically he's done. I think he's going to be really, really hard to get reelected since this attack occurred on his watch. But I don't know what happens after this,
right,
or
right.
who
Well,
knows.
sadly though, too, I think that for the Palestinians, I mean, there's too many people indirectly, directly, they benefit from not having a Palestinian state, from Egypt, to Iran and everything else. I mean, Jordan doesn't want them because what Palestinian
Yeah,
militias tried to do in 71 when they tried to take over. Egypt doesn't want to deal with them either. Saudi Arabia, the Abraham Accords, which these countries wanted because they feared the Persians even more. We'll have to see. One thing though, I think I read that a lot of these Hamas leaders got released. Remember the Israelis, which I was surprised they did. They traded like 200 prisoners or 2,000 prisoners for
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah,
And some of
yeah.
them were these. I was surprised they did that. I mean, is that the power of a Western democracy or the weakness, or is it both? I value in one life, but God, it was, it's a political pressure. I don't know. These are hard choices though, but Israel's not going to stop. Because I remember like 3 years ago when the Hezbollah leader, when from Lebanon, they were bombing Israel, and then Israel just went on for 2 or 3 weeks disproportionately. And the Hezbollah leader even admitted, which I was shocked publicly, he wouldn't have even started this if he realized how many rockets Israel was going to fire back. They made it really,
Yeah.
they made it
And
so
they had
hard, devastating, it even caused the Hezbollah leader not to want to do it again.
they have the Iron Dome too, and they have an Air Force. They have really good ground forces, Israel. So I just think it was a stupid thing. But again, there hasn't been any type of solution in this area for
It's been
years. And
relative chronic peace. I call it chronic peace, but yeah, there's too many people who have it
yeah,
in them for have this thing keep going for different reasons, not because they're always evil and
Yeah.
everything. So and some Israel's been great, sometimes they've not been great, and no one trusts each other, which I understand though too. But Israel
Yeah.
did give
So
up the Gaza. Israel did give up Gaza, and they did give the West Bank, and they said, "Let's see what you can." Generally speaking, let's see what you can do on their own. But it only takes a few Hamas people to keep on doing with their, fighting and bombing and all that to keep things going.
yeah, and that's exactly what happened. And then after that, Israel had to put the embargo on Gaza and the West Bank because they used that land to attack Israel. So it's like you're dealing with people that want to exterminate you, want to kill Americans, and there's no negotiating point. You can't negotiate with somebody that wants to see the Jews dead, and it is bleeding over into the United States. I think there is a problem with anti-Semitism attacks. If you look at the FBI chronicles these attacks, there's way, way, way more anti-Semitic attacks over the last several years than there has been virtually any other group of people. That
Yeah,
is an
no, and
absolute
not that I'm for anti-Semitic attacks, but I've always said this about again left-wing or right-wing media, and again, I'm not saying it's not good, but most of them still aren't as violent, and it's not like a systemic pogrom, so to speak. And I hate
yeah,
when people try to say, "Oh my God, we have to leave the country. This is all." Admittedly, I think the most dangerous anti-Semitic attack would come from militias in this country, but they're under watch. I don't freak out as much like other people do, even though it's there's some bad spots to live in. You said the Jersey, but every day. I mean, it's not. I don't feel I'm Jewish. I don't feel under siege and everything and stuff. I remember as my grandfather said, growing up in Newark at the turn of the century, when they came, his father came to the country. He would have to watch out where he walked in some neighborhoods because he might get his ass kicked. But you didn't see them going, "Oh my God, the world's ending. We have to leave, and this country is evil and stuff." And I guess I'm responding to I think some of the gross oversimplifications of I don't know. And there's always been anti-Semitism, and there's always been these nationalist movements and stuff at the shore
yeah,
and swastikas and everything. But you know,
yeah, absolutely. I
stuff
mean,
you
and
can't
it's
stop. It's human nature. As long as they don't stop me from living every day and going to the bank, going to school, keeping my job. Some stuff, unfortunately, you have to put up with.
yeah, and it runs in cycles too. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I studied for a long time the right wing militia group and single issue right wing extremists who many conservative pundits deny the existence, but they are out there. They have been responsible for political violence. There has been political
No,
violence
they're
against.
dangerous, and yeah,
They are, and we got the sovereign citizen people out there, and they didn't go away, and white supremacy does exist, whether we want to admit it or not, and single issue right wing extremists are capable. Timothy McVeigh, I give you a bunch of others. These
he
people,
proved himself to be very capable.
they don't exist in a vacuum, and there is anti-Semitism out there, and it has been committed by white individuals, and not to racialize it. And then there's extremism on all types. There's the black supremacists, people
Yeah.
that militant black movement. That guy Frank James, who shot up a subway, shot up 11, 12 people. He hated white people. He was a black separatist. It happens all the time. Some BLM
I
supporters will
don't
shoot and kill two police officers. I mean, the political violence is inherent in America,
But I don't
unfortunately.
think it's epidemic as people want to say. And just because a lot of that, like anti-Semitic thing, people can be gross. People can say things to you and write things. But again, I mean, it's not great. But does it really affect is it stopping life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness? I don't see it. But of course, you got to be on guard. But I agree with you. What I worry about is not even some of these black separatists and everything. I worry about the more the militias the ones who are sane, organized, have good spy and military craft and are dedicated. That's the ones. But I think they've been infiltrated a lot. And from what I keep on reading, one big mistake they do, they talk on social media, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
So I wonder if the FBI has already stopped plots we don't even know about.
probably.
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet they probably listen to a bunch of conversations. I probably listen to. I think they listen and monitor everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You got to
I
filter
would
the
not.
information.
I don't do anything illegal or anything like that. I wouldn't surprise me in the least if I didn't pop up on one of their radars or for my previous political activity for whatever. So whatever. I don't care. I'm not doing anything wrong. But I assume that they're always in the backdrop listening to us. So
Well, we got about 4 minutes left. What else do you want to talk about, and what do you want to wrap up with?
Good topics here. Good discussion. I've been following this Eric Adams thing in New York, and this is, you got
The
Bob Menendez.
fundraising. Well,
Yeah,
quickly tell the audience what went on, if you can, in under 4 minutes and 32 seconds.
my understanding, his fundraising aid, they're being investigated by the FBI for illegal campaign contributions, and looking to see if there was preferential treatment for a Turkish construction company that has gotten work in the New York area. Eric Adams' phone was seized by the FBI at a campaign rally. Now, the interesting thing about this is, um, and you got Senator Bob Menendez
Oh
last month, the
God.
month before, and this is a long time coming. But both of these individuals, you may disagree with me, but I think the FBI and the Justice Department is extremely political now. You say what you want about Trump, and you could prove me wrong about this. I don't know, but I don't remember seeing the Trump Justice Department go after fucking Democrats left and right. I could be wrong. I don't remember seeing that.
Well,
However,
I got to
I
stop
think
you right there. I don't care. And I'll say it again. I don't even know. I mean, I haven't done it. I don't have a dossier or a point by point rebuttal or true. Or say when it's true. Trump is a frigging criminal. Trump is an insurrectionist. I believe whatever Trump gets, he deserves. But against, and Trump, if elected, would try to use, he's already proven he'll try to use any apparatus he can of the government like a fascist to go after people. But I mean,
I got to see that. But what I'm seeing now is like there's a school of thought that what's his name, Adams and Menendez, they spoke out against the administration against for immigration, and now the Biden Justice Department is running wild on them. But I don't know if that's true because they indicted.
I mean, I don't know either. I mean,
They're going
it
after
could
Hunter
happen.
Biden, and so I just think that it's the perception is that the Justice Department is highly political, and they're going after big targets in the political arena to try to make their bones. I don't know, but
That
it's
could be
something
all
I'm following.
granular too. I mean, sometimes that stuff comes up because someone who's against Adams in New York has good information that is actionable and should be, and then they give it to the Justice Department. But like you said, I mean, I don't know right now. Menendez, oh my God. I mean, he just was
Yeah,
asking for it. I don't even
yeah,
see that as
yeah,
ever. I mean, the guy, I guess he got away with it. And
yeah.
everyone I've talked to, I don't know Menendez. They say he's a very bright, very effective senator in a lot of ways. But yeah, the greed
Yeah,
and I guess he feels he's above it because he got away with it before. Because he was in a
yeah.
court of law, he was found not guilty. Probably was guilty, but they couldn't find him guilty per se. But
And
ethical.
they didn't want to replace his seat because the Democrats would have lost control of the House, and
Mhm.
Christie was governor at the time.
Oh,
So
they could
so
have picked it. Oh, I could see that definitely.
yeah, so
Definitely.
that's why he got away with it, is because the Democrats didn't call for his resignation because it would have tipped the balance
Yeah,
to the
just like
Republicans.
Eric Gates in Florida. No one loves that guy. But but and also what's his name? The guy, the Republican guy who lies all
Oh,
the time. Santos.
Santos. Yeah, he's another one. I was going to bring him up. Um,
Realpolitik. Yeah, it's realpolitik. Yeah, they don't want to lose. It's so tight. They don't want to lose the Democrat or
yeah,
Republican.
yeah, it is. But you know what? There's an election season coming up, and these are interesting times, and it's good to discuss these issues and to see where we're going to be in another year or so. Are you in a better position now than you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? These are all questions that are going to linger with
Okay,
us for.
quickly though, I have to interrupt. 35 seconds. Adam, ABA Bierman, my YouTube channel, Breathing with Bierman, Jensen one. Where can they hear you? And we're about to go. Say it fast,
Okay.
fast.
Instagram.com/Bob Carson MMA, Facebook.com/Bob Carson MMA. Congratulations on the win, man.
Thank you. We'll talk again.
See you next time.
Yep. Aha! I love it. Okay, stop.
Good.
Yep.